Good evening, and welcome to the Health, Healing, and Higher Consciousness podcast, also my healing journey. Tonight, we're going to be talking about relationships when they're toxic and how they impact your health. And I'm going to tell you a story of what I've been going through lately in the past couple months. It's been very dramatic with family, colleagues, people from school, long-term friends, making new friends, moving to Miami, let alone the idea of women and what they do to your mental health, your physical health. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're making dinner. We're going to be making an amazing high consciousness dish, very healing dish. I love this dish because it's so easy on my digestion, and I've been dealing with digestive issues. I literally have had food allergies, food sensitivities, and it's been so hard to find anything that I can eat. And so I'm thrilled that I can finally eat all this food without having gut issues, energy issues, getting lethargic, having like this fire and flame feeling in my stomach. Looking for scissors, but you know what? I'm just gonna have to tear it right open. So, one thing that's really, really important when you're talking about your health, when you're talking about really life in general, you have to understand how to manage relationships. You have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And it takes a lot of tact. And if you're anything like me, you don't have that. Because my parents did not really teach me that much about it, and they don't have it. So naturally, I don't have it. So we're starting out with some organic peas. Peas have so much protein. I'm pumped to eat some peas. Pea me, please. That's a good amount. I put like half a cup, and we're cooking on low, guys. We want to cook on low because that keeps the nutrients alive the most. Really, what we could do is just steam all this. That'd probably be smarter. But, you know, we've been doing it like this, so I'm going to keep experimenting. So, what we're going to do is add kelp. Been loving kelp. Kelp is a superfood, yo. You want to eat your kelp. I got this from a Oriental supermarket. It's like $3 for this whole thing. It's going to last me forever. I really like kelp. I'm going to put a huge handful. Boom. Make sure you put it on the bottom so that it soaks and hydrates. It's currently dried, you know? Okay. Low in protein, but you know what? It has a lot of minerals. It's kind of like sea moss. It has a lot of minerals. And iodine for your thyroid and energy. So get your micronutrients here. So guys, let me just tell you the ingredients, and I'm just going to be able to talk about relationships, all right? I'll update you on everything that's going on. You're going to put celery uncooked on the side. Cherry tomatoes uncooked on the side. Spinach cooked, main course. Mint, basil, olives, kalamata, nothing else on it, on the side. We're going to have... We'll see how our digestion goes. Either 1 or 2 Hass avocados on the side, not cooked. That's what that means. And what we're gonna do is cook the spinach and the peas with ghee. It's gonna be good. Butter and spinach, guys, come on. That's what I'm talking about. The body really, really will love this. Come on. So that's what we're gonna be cooking up. And you know, I ate watermelon like an hour, maybe 90 minutes ago, so it digests fast, but you really wanna make sure that's completely out of your system before you eat again. So we're gonna take our time cooking this. You know, no rush at all. No rush at all. So, you know, most people know relationships have a huge impact on your health, but we haven't really been taught really how to manage them very much, have we? I know I haven't. The most education I got, and most people get, is just managing and fumbling around in the relationships that they have, talking to their friends, getting their dysfunctional or functional advice. Same thing with your parents. It all depends on how many good influences you've had in your life. That's your adaptation strategy. That's how you develop your psyche and actually your problem solving, your triggers, your emotional responses. You get it all from the people that you're raised with, and we're constantly raising each other. So it's no wonder that it's hard for me to manage relationships. I have not been exposed to many high tension, conflict relationships. Well, yeah, I have. It's just I haven't learned how to communicate and navigate it very well. I've always been like this nice guy, this Christian guy, who kind of just avoids conflict and brushes things off and sweeps it under the rug. And that's such a bad strategy, but it's what I've been doing for so long. It's all I really knew. Just pretend like it's not a problem. Pretend like you're not bothered. What that really is doing is suppressing a lot of energy, suppressing your authenticity, suppressing your boundaries, suppressing everything that you should be articulating. This is what a healthy relationship requires, but I didn't do that a lot growing up. I really didn't do that a lot growing up. So it's no wonder relationships can stress me out, right? Because I haven't learned how to really communicate that well. Oh, you know what I just realized? We didn't even wash this pan. Oh boy. Well, you can't unscramble eggs. Everything's already in there. What are you gonna do about it? Everything's already in there. It came clean in a package. It's fine. It came clean in the package. Was it wrapped in plastic? It came clean in the package. It's stainless steel. We'll put some turmeric. It's not a problem. We'll put in some turmeric. No worries at all. It's clean. We got a strong immune system. This is where we practice our mental fortitude. And you can drink any deadly substance and it won't harm you. So that's a little bit about my past and a little background about, why I would get stressed out by conflict or relationships or communication. It's not like I'm a complete idiot, but there's a lot of fine lines. There's a lot of social dynamics that go into managing your emotions, communicating in a healthy way, and everybody knows what it's like to kind of like have a fight with somebody that you care about, and it's just running in the background of your brain. It's kind of just bugging you, and you want to solve it, you want to talk to them, but it's not always as easy as that, right? So at times like that, it's really good to have like someone shrewd to talk to, whether it's like a mentor, a parent, an older sibling, a counselor, a mental health counselor, a psychologist. But at the time, I didn't really have anybody. And so I'll take you back. I was in a massage therapy program. It was 7 months long, and with 15 people, you're in the same classroom 6 hours a day, all right? So you really rub elbows with all these people, to say the least. And it gets traumatic. People get on each other's nerves, and you're friends with these people. You want to keep the peace, but when certain things happen, you just get feathers get ruffled, and you gotta know how to handle it. You gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them. So that's been the main crux of what I've been learning, is when to well, actually, just to put up healthy boundaries, to not tolerate people's emotional vomit, to not tolerate bad behavior. So you basically put that up, but once you do that, you have to have the shrewdness and the wisdom to know whether or not that person is actually going to stop doing it, what their character is actually like, if you actually want to associate with this person, if they're good for you. And so a lot of it comes down to intuition, guys. We gotta talk about this kind of stuff because this kind of stuff is what guys usually don't really talk that much about with each other. You know, this is usually like something that females are really good at doing. They always talk about relationships. They always talk about social dynamics. They're experts. You know, whether or not they're actually smart about their decisions, that just depends on the person. But they always talk about social dynamics. They're always talking about people. They're people smart, you know? A lot of guys, you know, we keep it to ourselves because we don't want to talk to our bros about stuff like that. We want to feel like we got everything together. I got this. We don't ask for advice. It's just a pattern that is definitely true. Well, at least I've noticed is that guys don't really open up about issues like that as much. And if they do, they kind of like bullshit. They kind of just make it seem like they're the hero. And it's not authentic. So we could do a lot better, guys. We could be a little bit more transparent, honest, authentic. You know, it's like you don't have to make yourself out to be the superhero of every story. You can be authentic and open up, and that's what I've had to do. I've had to do that because honestly, I don't always know what to do. I don't always know what to say. I don't know where to draw the line. And you waste a lot of time. You burn down a lot of time if you just try to like figure it out yourself. So I spend a lot of time just trying to like meditate and understand, but you know, even just talking to my dad about it, even just talking to my friend Roman about it, helped me get a little bit of clarity. But it's also important to talk to the right people about this kind of stuff, or else they're gonna be a yes man, and you're just gonna get BS answers that won't really give you that much insight. So the person has to be a good listener, and they have to be good at relationships themselves, or else, you know, they're just gonna give you their flawed perception and their bias because they're gonna try and kiss your butt because they care about the relationship. And so if you really want to grow, you have to get someone that will tell you the honest truth and kind of challenge you. And you have to be honest. If you're not honest, then it's all just a circus. It's all just, you know, you pumping your ego. It's all just you pumping your ego. You're gonna make it look like they're the bad guys, you're the good guy, you're the hero. It's useless if you're not honest. You have to look at it and really ask yourself, what could I do better? What did I do wrong? What did they do wrong? What am I being like? What are they being like? What does this say about me? What does this say about them? And you have to be brutally honest, okay? It's hard because you don't want to color or sugarcoat it either way. You don't want to sugarcoat how good you're being. You don't want to sugarcoat how good they're being. So you really have to take the emotional charge out of the situation, which is hard. Which is why it's so good to have a outside contact for this. Get some perspective. Yeah, this stuff is clean, guys. We don't got anything to worry. Still wash it. He still washes it. Because I want to get rid of any potential dust. Alright? It's the dust. So it's on low. We cover it. We got our spices in there. Turmeric, Italian, ghee. We're gonna put more of this on top once we're done. Now to get the uncooked ingredients ready. And my stomach is pumping that watermelon out. We ate so much of the white and the green, that's why. When you just eat the red, it digests a little bit easier. When you eat a lot of the white and the green, deep into the center, or around the crust rather, that takes a little bit more to digest. That's where the nutrients are in the watermelon. So I'm feeling it digest. It's good. It's really good. You know, it's super important to do intuitive eating. You eat when you feel like the digestive fire is strong. You don't eat too late. So you know what? We're gonna do one avocado. We're gonna keep this a little bit lighter. All these vegetables are gonna digest easy. Maybe have half a stalk of celery. Still gonna have the avocado. It's only like 8 o'clock. So we go to sleep at midnight. That'll give us 8 to 9, 10, 11, 12. That gives us 4 hours to digest it. It's fine. Usually you don't want to eat that much after sunset, but you know what? It's vegetables. And vegetables digest easier than if you're eating meat. So body can handle this. Plus, we did so much exercise today. We got out there and rode the bike around everywhere. Probably, I don't know, 15 miles. So, you know, I don't really want to go super in detail on what happened with the relationships and the conflicts, but the basic gist of it is you'll say something that somebody doesn't like, it'll ruffle them, or vice versa. And they'll either blow it out of proportion. You did something or said something, they'll blow it out of proportion. This is what happened with me. They'll blow it out of proportion, communicate in an unhealthy way. And they'll have to say, listen, I understand your feelings got hurt, but I'm only gonna have this conversation with you if you can communicate like an adult. I'm not gonna take your emotional vomit. You're just venting. That's not healthy. That's not mature. So I shut it down. And the person kind of like holds it against you because they're a little bit mad. But you have to do it. You can't just be a doormat. You can't just let people emotionally vomit on you. If they have a problem, they have to communicate it in a mature way, or else, you know, are you just going to be their punching bag? Because emotionally and verbally, people are doing very similar analogous things that you can liken to the physical world. And so, for example, would you let someone smack you around in the physical world? Probably not. But people let other people smack them around in the mental, in the verbal, and the personal relational world all the time. Why is that? It's because it's more subtle, and you have to know how to put up boundaries and communicate them, or else people will smack you around in the verbal world. You know, people are always testing boundaries, and they'll go as far as you let them go. And so that's why healthy boundaries are super, super duper important. Or else you'll just get smacked around. People will keep on taking advantage of you. Believe me. It's a bad thing, not a good thing. And so I'll shut down unhealthy communication if it comes up like that. And then the thing is, you gotta not be codependent. You gotta let them go. You gotta not be the one to cave. If you know that they've made a mistake, they haven't apologized, it's not on you to make reconciliation. It's on them. And besides, if they're a toxic person, and if they're going to repeat that behavior, or at least it's unclear whether or not they're going to say sorry or repent from that behavior, then why would you even want to reconcile it? You know, so there was this temptation in me to want to like make things better and be like a peacemaker. But you know what? I resisted because it wasn't the time for it. You gotta let it be. In certain situations, you have to let it be. You gotta wait and just let go and not be codependent and needy to make that relationship better again. Because if you do, but the ball was in their court, what does that train them to do? That trains them that even though they behaved wrong, you're coming back saying that you want to reconcile it. Unless if you have a very healthy way of saying, listen, this is exactly what happened. Moving forward, I think it's better if we conduct ourselves like this. I just wanted to check in and see exactly how you're feeling about what happened before. That's fine. But you're not apologizing, you're not sugarcoating, you're not just letting them get away with it. You know what I mean? So you have to be real about it. You have to address the issues where the issues are. And, if they respond bad, then let go, move on, find other friends. Even if these are friends or family members that you've been with for years and years and years. You can't tolerate toxic behavior. It'll just waste your time. And so you have to recognize where people are going to just be drama queens and make unnecessary problems and waste your time and energy, all right? That's what I had to identify is, you always want to salvage a relationship if you can, but sometimes they're not going to stop behaving in that unhealthy way. And so it's not on you to salvage it because you can't control them. If you're not on the same wavelength, if you're not vibing, if they don't see it the way that you see it, and if they're not willing to reconcile, then just let it be. Move on, So that's what I had to learn to do in several different circumstances. Something like that even happened with my close friends from college. I've known these guys for like over 8 years. It's not like we're the super closest friends ever, but we've had memories. But when something like that happens, you gotta chill and lay back, communicate like an adult, and if they're still not seeing eye to eye, and if they expect something of you that you're not willing to reciprocate or give into, it's fine. You don't have to have drama or conflict. You can just say, it looks like we're seeing things differently. I think we should just chill out and live our best lives. That's what I'm doing, because sometimes drama can just drain your energy. It can make you digest food worse. It can stress you out. It can mess with your sleep. People start like dissing you, cussing you, being vindictive and aggressive with their communication. And when they do that, you guys just make sure you take a deep breath. Don't communicate under the influence of anger or being triggered, and just realize, hey, if this person's being like that, they're probably struggling, they're probably in pain, there's probably a reason. We have to understand each other. So we try to have a conversation, we try to understand each other. And if you can come to an understanding, that's great. But if not, if feelings get hurt again, and it just feels like this loop of drama, hey, it's not on you to fix their rotten emotions and their anger and resentment. All you can do is deal with that. So that's what happened with me, with some of my buddies. And it's been like, I'd say a good 10 days, maybe 2 weeks since we spoke about it. And, I'm feeling great. It feels great to just move on. Friendship should be in your life to build you up, to support you, to share good energy. And, little arguments, little fights will happen. But if it's just a constant, ongoing thing, give it a rest, Sometimes people are going through a weird phase. Sometimes they need time. It's okay to spend a little bit of time apart. That needs a little bit more time. and on low. So, yeah, in conclusion, it's like we had a little disagreement. He started bursting out in anger out of nowhere because his expectations were not fulfilled, which he didn't really speak about, and that's called a covert contract. Dr. Robert Glover talks about this in his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and Dating Essentials for Men. So it's like sometimes people will expect you to call them just because they called you. They'll do something for you, and then they'll expect you to do it without communicating that to you. And when you don't do it, they get a little bit angry. And over time, it builds, and then all of a sudden, they're saying, "Oh my gosh, what kind of friend are you? Why? I don't think that you're gonna be there for me." And they're saying things that you don't understand, you don't expect. You're wondering, what is this person talking about? Out of nowhere, there was no conflict, and then all of a sudden, they're exploding, they're vomiting this out. They get triggered because, I don't know, you forget to call them back one night, and then they're accusing you of being pretty much Bowser Koopa and the worst person in the world, and they're making you out to be a bad guy. And it's like, hey man, we're friends. Like, what is going on? Friends don't give feedback like this. So sometimes relationships get tricky. People can be tricky. It's hard to understand people at times because they don't even understand themselves. And there's a lot of fine lines to be drawn, between how to communicate, how to figure out what's really going on, when to move on, when to try to help. So it's like you could try to help somebody if they're willing to admit what they're going through, admit what their problem is, and put in effort to try to reconcile it. But it's kind of like, hey, if this happens again, we're done. If it happens again, we're done. I don't tolerate emotional vomit and abuse like that. If it happens again, we are done. Because when someone explodes on you and says things or texts you things that is obviously not in good faith, that is just vindictive and critical and even slanderous, then that's not the behavior of a friend. That's the behavior of someone who's trying to manipulate you, shame you, twist your arm, feel like they have the moral high ground. And it's a codependent thing when they feel like they need something from you and they're trying to control your behavior. And so they'll come up with all these sly, different perceptions on things. And so don't tolerate it. Don't tolerate that kind of behavior. Adults communicate like adults. I'm going to hold you to the standard of an adult who bring each other up and give each other constructive feedback. So I think a lot of people relate to this. There's so many things that can come up in relationships, and just understanding the topic of, how to start minimizing the stress, how to handle these social interactions so that it doesn't impact your health, so that you can be healthy and not have your stress levels through the roof, destroying your sleep and your testosterone levels and your well-being and distracting you from being productive and successful. So, in conclusion, it's like, take a deep breath, talk to someone you trust, get healthy perspective, get that anger out of your system, admit to yourself that you're pissed off, that you're angry, that you're upset. Don't suppress it. Don't act like you're so mature that it doesn't affect you. Get it out of your system. Do a lot of emotional releases. You can do somatic releases. We'll talk about that. Once you have perspective and you have it out of your system, you can attempt to communicate and to reconcile and to understand each other. I highly recommend that. And see where it goes from there. But always having a good counsel, always having a good way to introspect, have self-awareness, be able to understand what's really going on in you. That's the key. So that you can learn about yourself and mature and grow. Because they're triggering you, okay? It's not their fault that you're feeling how you feel, even if they're out of line, right? So that's a whole nother dimension is understanding yourself, why you're reacting the way that you are, even if they're being inappropriate. You can't necessarily blame them for how you feel. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. This is why therapists exist. This is why therapists are very helpful. And I'm currently looking for a therapist. If you guys know one, let me know in the description after you like and subscribe. I tried BetterHelp, but I don't know, maybe I'll try again. It was, they canceled on me twice, and you have to pay every single week that you're not getting therapy, and so I was paying for not having therapy. But yeah, we'll see if I can find a better therapist. I have a recommendation from a friend. Therapists are definitely helpful, unless if you have a significant other that's highly intelligent and will listen to your drama. It's all just a process of understanding people, understanding yourself. It's emotional intelligence, it's social intelligence, it's understanding your triggers, your traumas, and another way to look at it is these people are helping you understand your own subconscious, your own traumas. That's a reframe. No matter how dramatic it gets, they're triggering something inside you. They're showing you your own traumas. They're showing you your weaknesses, and they're showing you where you can improve in your communication, your emotional regulation, your state control, and really the strength of your heart, how able you are to keep goodwill towards people even if they're being nasty to you. And I don't mean being codependent and screwing yourself. I just mean internally you still have goodwill even if you let the relationship go, even if you break it off with them. I'm not saying be a sucker, be a doormat. No. I'm just saying you keep internal goodwill to where you're not hateful towards them. And I'm also not talking about suppression, because I had feelings of anger, frustration, and hatred for the way that people behaved. But deep down, I still want the best for them. Okay? And that comes only after I purge those things. I'm integrating my shadow. And I'm not bullshitting that I'm only loving. No. I was full of anger and resentment and frustration. I literally wanted to smack him. Okay? So it's not super complicated, but don't delude yourself or deceive yourself. Keep goodwill, but be real about how you're really feeling, okay? Talk it through with someone good. Looks like we're just about ready to eat this. Thanks for hanging out with me. That was a nice chat. And we'll continue talking about emotional intelligence, social skills, relationships, because it has everything to do with health, for sure. All right, so this is what I've been going through. I've been maturing and trying to understand conflict resolution and communication and all these fun things, and it's been great. Not really, but it's better to have these conversations than not to. So in that sense, that has been great. So I'm gonna eat this now, and like and subscribe. I believe that this has been a beneficial topic, especially for us guys to talk about, and we're gonna keep on talking about good stuff like this, okay? It's not just about the food and the exercise and the sleep. It's about who you are. It's about your relationships to everything in life, especially people. Okay? People have a bigger impact on your health than anybody wants to admit. People and their energy and their love or their anger and their frustration, their jealousy, all has a huge, tremendous impact on your health. Okay? So choose the right people, and we're going to keep on training and talking and meditating on these concepts so that we can train ourselves to be more mature people, make wiser decisions, choose better friends, and be a better judge of character, and just be a better character ourselves. All right, so you have a great night. We'll keep the conversation rolling. Like and subscribe. Project New Man. We're gonna make you the best version of yourself together. Peace.